All right, here we go. Boop, boop. Okay, so hey everybody, we are live today. Thank you for coming to Life Matters Podcast. You know me, Kiana Monroe, and today I have a beautiful friend of mine, Miss Chidell. I met this beautiful soul. What was it like? Maybe 9 years ago now. I think about 9 years ago. And we ended up buying out the theater for Hidden Figures. Do you remember that for the young people?
Yes.
Um, I know, and it was so much fun. Like, I mean, and all we've been talking about ever since then was we have to do it again. It's been really hard now with COVID, but to do it again. And one thing I love about Chidell is that she has gone through a lot of the ups and downs and the growing and the evolving um, of just this past decade. And she still remains true to herself, which is great. And the whole point and purpose of today's show is really talking about outgrowing your friendships and outgrowing relationships that you've had that no longer serve you in the new season that you're in and where you're going, and outgrowing friendships you used to have, outgrowing relationships, and changing your friends sometimes depending on you're the season you're in. Everybody can't go with you, so so that's what we're talking about today, Miss Lady.
Kiana,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you so much for having me on your show today. I'm so excited. And yes, I remember the Hidden Figures project that we did. I cannot wait till COVID is over so we can do something again because it was so impactful and it was so needed at the time. And yes, let's talk about these friendships that we believe will last a long time on so many different levels, whether it be personal, whether it be a confidant, or whether it be business related.
Hmm.
And like you said, everybody can't go.
Everybody can't go. What has been your experience since you started? Like, how long have you started in your career, and what has that journey been like for you from when you started to where you are right now? Who's still around you?
Only a few, actually, only a few. And I will tell you, there was a couple of times that even a family member, it hit hard. I
Hmm.
mean, I was devastated, I was surprised, and I was hurt because I thought that this person and I would be on this journey together. We were going to build together, we were going to create legacies for our children, and we
Hmm.
would encourage each other and just support one another. And it didn't happen. Sometimes you outgrow people, and sometimes the reality is people become jealous, whether you want to see it or not.
Hmm.
But then it becomes obvious, you don't accept it because you are hopeful that that's not what it is, and the reality is that's what it becomes. So in my experience, in my journey since I've started, and I've had people even admit to me, both
Hmm.
friends and family, where my journey actually started way back leaving Los Angeles in 96 with
Hmm.
my three babies in a U-Haul truck, and I went to Arizona. Family members said, wow, we thought you were going to be gone for a year. But Arizona catapulted me to even having the interest in becoming an entrepreneur. And when I
Hmm.
was teaching etiquette classes, that evolved to conferences and events where I wound up creating Girlfriends Connected,
Hmm.
because I saw the need that women need to get together and support each other on a lot of different levels.
Yeah.
Not that clicky, gossipy, because we're too grown for that, but
Hmm.
just to know that, hey, you're going through this. Oh, wow, I'm going through that too. Let's talk about it. How did you handle it? Oh, this is what I did. Well, I did that and that didn't work for me. Well, I did this and this worked for me, so try that. So much that at one of my events, I had a game called Me Too. I had
Hmm.
the women separated at different tables. We had some thread, or some yarn rather, and at the table, someone would say, I've been to jail before. And another lady said, oh, wow, me too. So then you stretch the string to the person that had the similar situation as you until you created a web. And when you created that web, you stood up. And it was a testament to how much we actually have in common.
Wow, that's
So
great.
then when that organization grew from having a brunch for 4 hours on a Saturday afternoon to a
Mhm.
3-day conference, I had a relative come and said, I didn't believe in you. I said, wow, I did
Mm,
not believe in you until they saw the fruits of my labor. Because, when you start things in the beginning, of course, it doesn't look like anything. But
right.
then when it begins to flourish, the people say, oh, wow, now I see.
Bandwagon jumpers.
Yeah. So it hurt for a while, but then I had to learn how to let go and grow. That's a workshop in itself. Let go and grow.
Let go
And
and grow. So
yeah,
the person that didn't believe in you, was that the person that you thought you'd be doing everything with?
one of them, yes. One of them.
And that was family?
And that was family.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes it's hard to it's hard to detach from
yeah,
family, right? And it's really hard to detach from family you're really close to and that you want them to be proud of you. And you kind of want them to approve of your choices and decisions. And for some reason, they just don't see what you see and they try to talk you out of it. I don't know. For me, it wasn't, I mean, I guess it was my family, but it was a lot of friends and then you got cousins and things like that. But I was just kind of told, you're never going to be nothing. Just like point blank period. I was not encouraged to do anything. I wasn't encouraged.
really.
No.
Well,
I mean, everybody's just like, well, you're really smart, and then stuck a pin in it. Like, and what? I'm smart, and just not that. So I had to dream a dream for me
mhm,
and hold on to it, even though I was the only one who could see it. And it's really hard because not only do you not have people believing in you, they're not even trying to support you and they're not trying to help you. So you have no cheer, no support, no, let me help you figure it out. You have to kind of do all of that on your own. And it sucks. It sucks when later they come back and they see, the wins and the gains and all that. And then they want to come around. And the first thing you want to do is be like, uh, no, the hell you will not. And,
right.
and that's kind of how I was. Like when I finally got my career at ESPN, everybody wanted tickets to the games. Everyone wanted, like, but everybody was telling me to go be a receptionist. Not that there's anything wrong with being a receptionist, but that's not what I
I
did
want
not
you
want
to
to be a
do.
receptionist, right? So it was just like, but now you guys want tickets to games. Now you want to, like, now I'm important. Now you want to, like, now I'm something worth bragging about. And I literally had to detach
Mhm,
from my family and and it was hard because I kept in the back of my mind, what if I fail? Like people are watching, waiting for me to fail. What if I fail? What if I fall? What if this? What if that? And I didn't. And the one thing I realized is once I got to the next level,
mhm,
I no longer really had anything in common with a lot of my
mm,
cousins and a lot of other people because they were complacent, which is why they didn't see my dream to be possible.
right.
They're complacent in their own lives. And I couldn't have conversations with them about what it is that I'm working on and what it is that I want to work on next. And like it just, they're so close minded that I had to just say, you know what, this season is over.
Mhm,
And I need to set up my boundaries and I need to completely detach because now I'm looking at it as that's toxic. And if I remain around people who are small minded like that, even if they're family, and I had people I grew up around, friends from back then, like I'm not that person anymore. I've completely evolved. And now we no longer really have anything in common. And I would remain stagnant if I stuck around
mhm,
in hopes that people won't think I'm a sellout or I forgot where I came from type of thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I've
Yeah.
had that.
Yeah.
It's really disheartening to know, and friends too. I've lost friends along the way. A couple
Mm-hmm.
of them to misunderstandings, a couple of them to I can't even explain why.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've been told that I dream too big, but I said if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough anyway, which is a testament to this house that we'll talk about one day. But just to know that if you have a dream and you share it with someone, then when they see you on your journey, when they see you on your path, and they see you making progress and you begin to win,
Mm-hmm.
then this is where the separation comes in. Because
Mm-hmm.
not just the jealousy, I've had people who, even in the church, have tried to take my programs from me, have tried to take my ideas from me and implement them as their own with a little twist.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, I couldn't really understand. But then once I got some clarity on what was happening, it was mind baffling to me. And I'm talking about in the church. So in the church,
Mm-hmm.
family, and friends. So they said there's a saying out there somewhere that talks about traveling this road is lonely or it
Yeah.
can be lonely
Yeah.
because, as you stated in the beginning, everybody cannot go because your gift and your talents were given to you,
Yeah.
not to everybody else, so they may not understand. That doesn't take away from having a partner because a partner is it's great to have partnerships. I would love to continue beautiful partnerships because they can blossom into amazing things. But if
Mm-hmm.
you have someone that is jealous of your drive, it's kind of like the tortoise and the hare, you know?
A little bit.
And if you have somebody that's not 152% or more on your team, then all they can do is drag you down. And when you outgrow them and you try to keep them on, you try to bring them on, you're hopeful that they will catch up. And then sometimes it just weighs you down. And then you become stagnant. So then, not so much to be complacent, but then it kind of stifles your progress. You just got to cut the dead weight and move on, no
I
matter
agree.
how it hurts.
I agree. I had a friend recently reach out and she wanted to hang out and all that kind of stuff. But here's the thing that for me, when it comes to success, I want everyone to win, right? I want
Mhm.
everybody to eat. If there's any opportunity that I have and I know that I can share that knowledge, because I think success should not be a secret. It's not a secret. You know what I mean? What's for you is for you. And it's okay to spread whatever knowledge you may have. So I'm always down to teach somebody something or tell somebody something or whatever the case may be. The issue that I have is when people say, "How did you do this?" or "How did you do whatever it is that you're doing?" And I tell them and they don't do anything. You know what I mean? Like I can't hang around people that are not hungry like me.
Right.
I can't stand a procrastinator. You know what I mean? Someone who is not driven and ambitious and people who just talk and say what it is that they want to do. And I don't know, I've met a lot of people in my time and throughout my years that are like that. Um, for example, a recent example is I told a couple of people about working on books and working on children's books or working on whatever kind of books that they want to work on. I went through step by step to tell them everything that I did and how to do it and whatever because they're trying to do it too and they're watching me and all this other stuff and they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything with what I told them. And I just feel like, I cannot hang around people that do that. And then they're like, and people who are constantly complaining or saying, I need to do this with my life and I need to do that with my life. And it's like, well, did you do it yet? Every time I check in, I'm just like, did you do it yet? Did you finish the project? Did you start? Are you halfway? Where are you on your journey? Like, and there's nothing. But then you want me to come hang out with you and shoot the shit? Like, we don't have anything in
Right.
common. We don't have, like, I cannot. that's not my circle of friends. That's not the type of people I want to hang around. So, I mean, that could be, people are like that even in your neighborhood, but like,
Mm-hmm.
and then another thing that I've recognized and I realize is that you can't put everybody on your team because everyone doesn't have the same work ethic as you. Man, when I tell you everybody wants to like, well, how can I get on what you're doing or whatever it is that you're doing? You try to say, okay, well, we could do this together. And
Mm-hmm.
then they realize how much work
Oh yeah.
goes to what it is that you have to do. And then
Oh yeah.
they drag, or, you know, they don't pull their weight, and they
Mm-hmm.
become a liability versus an asset to what it is that you're trying to do. And then they want to wonder why you don't want to talk to them anymore. It's like, you know what? I'll do it myself. This is not going to work. You know what I mean? Everybody can't go. Everybody can't. I still want you to eat. I just don't want you to eat at my table with me. My table is up there. Like, my table is up there. And you want to stay here and eat, that's absolutely fine. You know, once upon a time, I used to eat ramen noodles all the time because that's all I can afford. But my mindset is like, if I want ramen noodles, just because I feel like it, not because I
Right.
have to. And I don't want to keep hanging around people that eat ramen because they have to. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I know. So, which brings me to the story of doing these conferences. Now, this is, I hate to use the word disheartening, but that's the most polite word I can think of right now. And
Mm-hmm.
there was a young lady who had a magazine. And she said, oh, let's see how we can support each other. Let's see how we can work together, how we can collaborate.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing those conferences and everything by myself. One year I have 4 months to do it in. She said, oh no, you can't do that in 4 months. You need at least a year, good year and a half. I said, so you don't know how I operate. Now, mind you, this is at the time where I'm working full time and
Mm-hmm.
raising 4 young children at the time who
Mm-hmm.
also had after school activities and going to church, Bible study on Tuesday, church on Sunday. Then I'm on all these boards. So my plate is pretty full. I was
Mm-hmm.
still able to pull that off in 4 months. But needless to say, her and I never worked together. We barely talk right now. But when she saw the event, then you come back and say, oh, well, how can I help or how can I be involved? And another thing that reminds me of, which this person did take action, they
Mm-hmm.
came to the 3 day conference I had, the first 3 day conference, which pushed me way out of my comfort zone. Way, my friend, sister, confidant, pusher is what I call her at the time. And my
Mm-hmm.
mentor, she since passed away almost a year ago. But because of the room I was using was packed pretty much to almost standing room only, she said, you've grown out of this. You need to go to the hotel. Matter of fact, we need to make a 3 day conference. One young lady says, God, I want to do that. I want to do what you do.
Mm-hmm.
She called me one day and she said, girl, why didn't you tell me how much work goes behind putting these conferences together? Because I make it look easy. But you don't know about the sleepless nights. You don't know about my breaks and my lunches. I'm on the phone with the hotel. I'm in between calls. I'm taking notes. I'm sending emails. I'm doing
Yeah.
RFPs and things like that. So I'm
Work.
juggling as much as I possibly can. Yeah. So you
Yeah.
don't know about the time I was up to 4 in the morning because I'm trying to get these program books together. I'm making sure we have the tickets and the online link for the
Yeah.
tickets to go live. And I can honestly say that when she asked me that, it didn't validate my existence in doing the conferences, but
Mm-hmm.
it justified the work because you don't see what's going on behind the scenes. You just show up to the hotel, you see the centerpieces, you see the dinners being served, you see
Mm-hmm.
the speakers on stage, you see my ambassadors at the time that was helping out and everything and my vendors. So everything appeared to be running so smoothly, but you do not see the behind the scenes work
Yeah.
at all.
A lot of
So
work. So the real question is, how do you deal with people you outgrow? How do you separate yourself from people in your life who no longer serve you? Those relationships no longer serve you, and they're unhealthy. How do you go about cutting those off? Or do you cut them off? Or do you keep them around just at a distance?
there was some that I kept around at a distance and they fell off on their own.
Mm-hmm.
just naturally or over time just took place.
Mhm.
Um, as I've gotten older and realizing more of my, not just the value, but just the importance of
Uh-oh. You there? Uh-oh.
can you hear me now?
There you go. Yeah.
Awesome. So the importance of putting me first,
Mhm.
because I have a problem of putting everybody else before me.
Mhm.
So having to just say enough is enough. I've had where I needed to not make the phone call. I needed to ignore the text messages. I needed to not respond. As
Mhm.
hard as it was, I couldn't continue to allow myself to be torn down by the lack of the other person.
Yeah.
So to be able to cut people off that no longer serve you, and again, this is family and friends, you just
Mhm.
have to get to the point where you feel yourself worthy, and not even just worthy and strong enough to know that it doesn't serve you anymore. And
Yeah.
all it is like, it's like an anchor on the boat. When you have
Mhm.
an anchor on the boat, what happens? It stops you from moving. And you can't allow those anchors in your life. So if you want to
Yeah.
keep moving, you got to release.
Yeah, I say that all the time. Like I have to keep people at arm's length. I don't share my dreams with everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we got a lot of dream killers out there. And you have
Yeah.
people who are listening with ill intent. They're listening with a shady ear. They're not listening to support. They're not listening to give encouragement. They're not necessarily happy for you. You sharing too much is giving ammunition and opportunity for somebody to shoot your dreams down. So you have to be very careful and mindful of who you share your dreams with. And that's including some of your friends. You can't surround yourself with simple-minded people. Everybody in my circle has to understand what they're passionate about, what their
Mm-hmm.
purpose is, and what they value. And if that is out of alignment with my values and my purpose and my passion, then you cannot be a part of my inner circle. Because sometimes we don't have full control over our thoughts, not 100%, right? And when you don't have full control over your thoughts all the time, you can't afford to be around pessimistic, negative, closed minded people, non ambitious people, like negative, toxic. You can't be around that because eventually they're going to keep planting those seeds and it's going to harvest some way, somehow. It's going to harvest, it's going to show up. And I know it's cliche, but the whole birds of a feather thing. And so, yes, you have friends. Yes, you have family. You may have known them for a very long time, right? But
Mm-hmm.
there is absolutely, if everyone wants to go with you, everyone has to grow with you. And it
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean you have to change exactly when I change, but let's be realistic when it comes to timing. I have to see you put effort in yourself. I have
Mm-hmm.
to see you become everything that, you know, you're watching me become. You can't just be like, oh, well, you're doing so well, and oh, well, you're doing so. I'm like, you could be doing that too. Why are you
Right.
not growing? Why are you not growing? Why are you not trying? Why are you not putting the effort into you? Because I'm sorry, I don't believe that God's word comes back void. I believe that your thoughts and your imagination creates your daily experiences. And if you really think positive, and if you want something and you put that effort into yourself, you're going to move the needle. Maybe
Yeah.
not overnight, but you're going to move the needle. And that's growth. And if my friends can't grow and if they're not trying, I may, send you a birthday card. Happy birthday. I might, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to hang out. Like my friend was just like, let's go have some drinks and stuff. And all I could think is, what were we going to talk about?
Yeah.
What are we
You
gonna talk
never
about?
know.
Because I simply said, I was just like, did you start your business that you said you've been wanting to start for a long time? And I told you have to go here, here, here in order to do it. And just start here and then go here and then go here. And then you'll have a full triangle. And she didn't start. She didn't even start here.
Like,
And then every
number
time,
one,
huh?
I said, like, what did you check off the list to the to-do list? Number one, what did you do? And why didn't you do it?
Yeah.
Like, at what point do you stop the excuses? Because everybody has the same 24 hours in a day. Now, I know how driven I am. I know how ambitious I am. Even when I bought my first house, people said, girl, you ain't better than nobody because you bought a house. I said, we have the same 24 hours in a day. Now, I can't say that our opportunities have been on the same, playing field, but how driven are you to get the things that you say that you want because you see somebody else has it, having it, or because you see somebody else has it? Where does your ambition lie? Where do
Mm-hmm.
your desire, where do your desires fall?
Mm-hmm.
How hungry are you? Are you hungry at all? Are you just providing lip service? Do you say, oh, this is what I want? But when you say this is what I want, what do you do to get it? What steps are you taking to make sure that you achieve your goals? What
Mm-hmm.
steps are you taking to make sure you say you get the things that you want? Okay, I want a big house. But let me see what's on Netflix real quick. Let me watch, home builders. Okay, I want this car. God, that's a nice car. Man, I really want that car. Oh, shoot, hold on. Baseball game's on.
I don't know who you've been hanging around and who do all of that, but that's a bit much. I think even if somebody doesn't have the same appetite I have, you have to be hungry around me. You know what I mean? Um, I could have something you don't necessarily have to have or want what I have. You don't have to necessarily even want to go in the same direction, but you do have to be going forward towards something. Um, and I'm more so paying attention to behavioral habits and patterns, and people's daily lifestyles, and putting the actions behind the words, and understanding that I am not a bad person because I outgrew you. I don't want to feel as I won't allow somebody to make me feel bad because I'm choosing my company wisely. And people do that. People try to make you feel bad, especially if they've been around you. And one of the things that they do is, well, I knew you when, or once upon a time you didn't have all of that, or once upon a time, you used to be different, or you acting different, you moving funny, you're changing.
You bougie.
I'm growing.
Does a caterpillar stay a caterpillar? No. Do babies crawl for the rest of their lives? No. They get up and walk, and then eventually they run. When
Yeah.
you fall off of a bike, what do? You get back up and start riding it again. Oh, you bougie. Oh, you think you too good for me now. Oh, you think you too good for us. Oh, you act like we're beneath you. No, I don't act like any of that. I've
Toxic.
grown.
Yeah.
I
I
see
am.
things
Sometimes
differently.
I am too bougie for that. I am better than this. Once upon a time, this used to be good, and it is no longer good enough. I am
Right.
better than this. I deserve better than this. Technically, you deserve better than that.
Right. I think, and it took one of my mentors to tell me when I started Girlfriends Connected, this one person complained about everything. Literally every day was a complaint and it was negativity. And it drained me. And I said, I gotta be around some people who have some positive things to talk about.
Pour into you.
We have some positive energy.
Hmm.
And we met at Mimi's Cafe. We had brunch. We set our goals for the year. We became accountability partners. I had a spoken
Hmm.
word person. We
Hmm.
ate, we laughed, and it was amazing. And they say, Chidell, we have to do this again. And that's how it started. And then more positive people came and more positive people came because
Mhm.
being negative is draining.
Yeah, and
And if
sometimes
you,
if that's all you have around you,
mm-hmm,
you're not making room for the right people to come into your life because you done filled your space up with toxic people and people you don't know how to let go and people you've outgrown for whatever fear you may have.
let me ask this question, if
Yeah.
I may, if I
Okay.
may, because what about, and we kind of touched on it a little bit, family members who you honestly believe, whether it be a cousin, whether it be a parent, an
Mhm.
aunt, an uncle,
Mhm.
that you just know in your heart of hearts is going to support you, be there for you, not necessarily be a cheerleader, but just be okay with your growth.
Okay.
And you know you have to cut them off because they're a detriment to your growth, because the jealousy from a family member that you
Mhm.
would not believe will come from this particular family member. How do you even handle that when it's that close in the family?
I think healthy communication is first and foremost, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you acknowledge how you feel, right, and you name it, like jealousy. This feeling I'm feeling from you feels like jealousy. What I feel from you is not necessarily support, or whatever it is. I think you should bring that up in a conversation with someone and really talk it out and say, this is how I feel when I'm around you. And this is what I need to feel in order for me to grow and be better. And I need you to know, out of respect for myself and love for myself, and I know that you would want the best for me,
Mm-hmm.
setting a healthy boundary of lessening the amount of time that I'm spending with you for the betterment of myself is what I need. And if somebody really loves you and respects you, then they will
Mm-hmm.
honor that boundary, right? Because there's no ill intent. I'm being honest about what it is that I need.
Right.
And the last thing I would want to be, if someone came to me and said that,
Mm-hmm.
I would honor the boundary. You know why? Because the last thing I want to be, even if that's not my intention, if my presence is making somebody feel stagnant, if my presence, comes off as negative to somebody, if my presence stunts somebody else's growth, I don't want to be a stumbling block. If space is what you need, space is what I can offer you. Just
Right.
know that I'm here if you need me. I'm cheering on the side, whatever that may be. And it needs open conversation. Not everybody will take that well,
No.
right? At all, right?
Right.
So the best thing that you can do is remove yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Remove yourself. My grandmother and my godmother told me that she thought I'd be great just being a hairstylist. And
Okay.
that my dreams were too big, and that I'm a mother. It's one of the things I actually heard a lot about when I became a mother. You can't do certain things anymore. Your mom, your child is your priority now. Everything that you do is for your kid, blah, 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 all that stuff. You just need to get a good job. Don't worry about trying to be an entrepreneur. Don't get really, really stable, get you, good 401k, get you like all these, their mindset,
Right.
their mindset, right? And I am aware that they were coming from a place of all that they knew during their season of life in that
Mm-hmm.
area and that era. Back then, this is all you could do. Like my grandmother comes from a time where they couldn't have checking accounts. She
Hmm.
couldn't go out and necessarily work the same type of job, and like she had to be home at a certain time. Things have changed. Women are like buying property now and you getting their education. There's no limits. When, once upon a time it wasn't equal. Women's rights was not equal. So as much as I understand and love and respect maybe the good intentions,
Mhm.
I still have to cut you off because your dream for me is too small.
Right.
I
In
I
a box.
want this in my season. And just because you've never seen it done, and just because you couldn't grasp it, just because it didn't happen for you, I cannot, because I only get one life. And I have to experience this one life to the best of my ability. And if I'm going to make some mistakes, I have to make the mistakes because I'm the one that has to learn from them.
Right.
So I cannot believe your dream for me if it is smaller than the one that I have. And I had to tell them that. And I had to deal with disappointment every time I come home for the holiday. Everybody's just like, so what you doing now? We're did you make your dream yet? Did you, and it's like little pricks, and that actually hurts.
Right.
That actually hurts. And after a while, I just stopped going. I stopped going to like holiday events because
Mhm.
I didn't want to be broke. I didn't want the attempts of being broken down. I didn't want, how like family drama can be on holidays and things like that, or it's like a competition sometimes. I was just like, you know what? It's unhealthy for me to show up because all I'm going to do is fight for my dream. The whole time I'm not even going to sit here and enjoy it. I have to sit here and try to prove and talk people
Mhm.
into what it is that I'm doing, or listen to what it is that they're saying and try to convince them otherwise. And I was just like, I don't have to try to convince anybody of anything anymore. I'm just not going to go. I can only control myself. I can't worry about what they think. I can't worry about if they don't see. I can't worry about their unwillingness to
Mhm.
understand what it is that I want to do. And I have to be okay if I lose friends along the way. I have to be okay if I lose people along the way. I have to be okay fighting for my dream on my own if need
Mhm.
be, by any means necessary. You have to want your dream by any means necessary.
You
And
do. You
like,
do. That actually is a reminder that you can't tell everybody you dream, because then they'll put not just in a box. They'll put you in a box. They'll put a label and a timeline on you. So like when you go to the holiday event, well, did you make your dream yet? Or did your dreams come true yet? So then
mhm,
it becomes an expectation of ridicule to them because they don't believe like you believe.
mhm,
If you look at people like, look at Tyler Perry and look how many times he attempted his dream. And he even said, his mother said, just go get you a job at the post office, get you
yeah,
some good benefits, and
good
you'll be
benefits.
fine with that 401k, and you'll be just fine.
Yeah, I mean, older folks think that way. And the funny thing is, now that I have 5 books out, now that I'm a global speaker, now that I have 2 successful businesses that I run, now that I have the animated series, now I have all that, her excitement for me, the excitement, my godmother's excitement for me is just unparalleled.
Wow.
I mean, she's just so proud of me and she's so excited. And now she brags about me all the time and things like that. Now, my grandmother on the other end, she was still very unimpressed.
Really?
Still very unimpressed. And that really just brings you to, you can't please everybody. I won one and I still didn't win the other. But at the end of the day, I proved something to myself. I did something for me and I
And
stuck
that
with it
matters.
for me. And I'm okay. I'm okay with what I lost along the way
Hmm.
because it created room and space for me to receive what is meant for me at the end of all of this. Not necessarily at the end, but as I move forward and I grow, the right people,
Yeah.
there's room for the right people because the wrong people I left way back there.
And that kind of adds to what you said. How do you let go or break free of the people that you outgrow? You kind of have to, because you have to open up enough space or the room for the people who are supposed to be there to
Mm-hmm.
help you go further.
Right.
You cannot stay stagnant if you decide you want to stay stagnant because you're holding on to hope for
Right.
that person or those people to grow with you. Just don't stay there, because you're actually stifling your entire journey waiting for somebody else who doesn't have the same mindset. It's a lot of mindset too. Who doesn't have the same mindset as you to grow. Even if you have different gifts, different talents, different goals, different
Mm-hmm.
dreams,
Mm-hmm.
but you can work together because it's like a puzzle piece. Not all puzzle pieces are cut the same, but once you put them together, it makes a beautiful picture.
Yeah.
And you need people like that on your team.
Yeah.
So if you have that, like I said earlier, that anchor or that dead weight, that missing puzzle piece that's going to keep you from completing that beautiful picture that you need to complete, then you're stifling yourself. So you have to dig down inside and say, okay, how bad do I want this? You hear all these motivational speakers on YouTube. Les Brown say, how bad do you really want it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Eric, what is his name? Eric, can't remember his last
I
name.
know, but it's a lot of them, and they always ask,
How
you know,
bad?
how hungry are you? How bad
Yes.
do you want your success? And I believe in going after your success, but I'm also a big believer of getting into alignment to receive,
Mm-hmm.
not focusing on the absence of something that you want, because if you
Mm-hmm.
focus on the absence, that's you telling yourself that you don't have it, right?
Right.
And so now you're operating in a mindset of lack. But you have to be willing to move forward and stay in
Mm-hmm.
alignment and not worry about the people who are moving out of your alignment, to make space and room for those that are supposed to be coming towards you. What you put out, you attract right back. And
Yes.
so
That energy.
that's really it for the most part. So, guys, I hope that you learned something from our experiences and the things that we've said in stories. And if you have somebody in your life, no matter who it is, it could be your significant other, it could be family, it could be friends, it could be coworkers, it doesn't matter. um it's not their dream. And be
Right.
willing to separate yourself, right? Be willing to cut ties. Be willing to put healthy boundaries up. Be willing to tell people, no, you're not going to tell me what I can and cannot do. And
Mm-hmm.
separate yourself and do it out of love. I'm really big on love on this show. And so you releasing people with love is an act of love for yourself, because you
That was
have
good.
you have to choose you. You have to choose you so that other people can benefit from the amount of love that you give to yourself. They benefit from the overspill. And if you're allowing people to dictate how you fill your cup, you're
Mm-hmm.
always going to just be kind of close or halfway and not make it. Or you're going to fill it with something that's toxic, and the overspill is going to be unhealthy for everybody, right? And then people are going to complain anyway. So focus on you, love yourself enough to choose you and choose your journey, right? And people will
Right.
understand or not. But at the end of the day, you only have your life, and that life has to matter.
Yes.
So, all right, everybody, thank you so much, Chidell. How can they find you if they want to follow you and work with you?
If you want to follow me and work with me, you can follow me on Instagram at Girlfriends Connected. You can go to my website, which is Chidell Speaks, and I'll spell that as Chidell and then speaks.com. You can also catch me on Facebook just with Chidell Watkins personal page, business page, Girlfriends Connected. Also on LinkedIn and Twitter.
I gotta do better with Twitter. I gotta get on Twitter. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned something and took lots of nuggets, because we dropped a lot of nuggets and a lot of
Yes.
good gems on here. And until next time, guys, remember, you matter.
You matter. Thanks, Kiana.
Bye.